Waycross presents a forum for Forest Park City Council. There are 5 candidates running for 3 open positions. The candidates are, in alphabetical order, Aaron Brown, Wayne Coates, Denise Holt, Reggie Sylvester, Matthew Robinson.
Welcome to another Waycross Election Forum. This forum is for the Forest Park City Council. I'm Kurt Radel, Government Programming Coordinator for Waycross Community Media. We will start with a 2-minute opening statement, but before we go to the candidates, we want to mention that if you're watching this live on October 3rd, you'll be able to email your questions to the candidates. If you're watching live, the email address will show up at the bottom of the screen, and it's waycross.org. If you're watching live, you must be a Forest Park resident to ask a question. When you send in your email, please include your name, street address, and town. We will only use your first name and street. Also, the questions must be phrased for all the candidates, not one in particular. And we want to again introduce the candidates. Now, Matthew Robinson was unable to attend this evening, so we do have Mr. Aaron Brown, Mr. Wayne Coates, Ms. Denise Holt, Mr. Reggie Sylvester, and those are our 4 candidates that we have here today. Welcome, we're happy to have you. And Mr. Brown, we will start with you for a 2-minute opening statement.
Okay, thank you for that, Kurt. Well, good evening to everybody. Good evening, residents and our neighbors who are watching. My name is Aaron Brown, and I have the privilege of serving as the mayor for the beautiful city of Forest Park. I'm pleased to be here tonight. I've been on council for 4 years now, and I love serving. A personal motto of mine is being dedicated to servant leadership. If service is beneath you, then leadership is beyond you. That's generally how I tend to operate. So we've made a lot of progress. I believe Forest Park's best days are still ahead and not behind us. We are going to continue to make progress. And I just thank you for this opportunity. Thank Waycross Community Media. Thank the residents for electing me, for being able to come here and continue to serve you tonight. Thank you.
Thank you. And Mr. Coates, you have 2 minutes.
Thank you, Kurt. My name is Wayne Coates, and I'm a 38-year resident of Forest Park, and I also served as your mayor quite a few years ago. I served 10 years on council total, and then I went up to the State House, and then, of course, I was your county recorder for 8 years. I was encouraged by our residents to get back on council because people of, I guess, my generation now are tend to be overlooked a little bit. One of the highlights of my career is 23 years of service to you, the public, is to be able to facilitate matters and to do things that helped our city as well. And it's seemed to be a little problematic because our area is, we need a little bit more for our senior housing, and we need a little bit better code enforcement that we can encourage to get things done a little bit easier than be more problematic. Thank you, Kurt.
Thank you, Mr. Coates. And now for 2 minutes opening statement, we have Ms. Holt.
Good evening. My name is Denise Holt, and I am once again running for City Council. I have been a City Council member for 15 years. I have served as first vice mayor for approximately half of those years. I want to continue the work that I am doing in the city of Forest Park. Property maintenance is a big issue in Forest Park. Tax is the main concern of our residents in Forest Park. We have been fortunate that we have not been able to raise the taxes in quite some time, and I want to continue to work to keep it that way and not raise the taxes for our citizens, because I want them to know that those same pains that they feel, I feel those pains also, because I too pay those same taxes, and all the time we're not happy to pay taxes, but we pay IRS every year. You know, a lot of us don't complain, but when it comes to city taxes and taking care of our own community, it seems to be an issue, but I want to debunk that issue, that misconception that Forest Park taxes are the highest taxes in the surrounding areas. As far as the seniors are concerned, I am a senior. So what I do for myself, I want for myself, I want for the senior residents in the city of Forest Park. And I will continue to strive to work for me and the citizens in the city of Forest Park. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Holt. And now, Mr. Sylvester, 2 minutes.
Yes, sir. Good evening. My name is Reginald Sylvester, and I go with my short name of Reggie Sylvester. But I'm running for a second term for City Council for Forest Park. I've been a resident of Forest Park since 1986. Have served in various areas of the committees throughout Forest Park with the Commission of Park and Rec. Have done a lot of active work, being engaged with our youth and supporting the programs and advancing through various functions of that area. Took on the option of challenging the area of council. I believe that we've had some real success over these past years, even though we were dealt with our pandemic and areas of being shut down. I think the city staff and the council did great work in keeping the city active, keeping various services available, and bringing those things that which we need during that particular time. I am open and willing to continue to move in a positive area for the city, help support those programs and policies and advancements that will be spread among the body of the people throughout Forest Park. We want to have a leverage that where we are supporting our seniors, giving those things which they need, and help driving our youth so they can grow in their areas and get a vision of what it means to be in a leadership role so they can maybe take on their future promise. So that's my point.
Thank you for your opening statements. Now, we're going to ask you a series of questions. You'll have 2 minutes each. The first question is, what do you think are the top 3 issues facing the city of Forest Park? And this time we begin with Mr. Coates.
Well, the first top three to me is that what I've been hearing from my neighbors is, one, the lack of code enforcement in certain areas. Right down the street from me, I've had a house sitting there vacant for 15 years. And I've heard a lot of stories about why they can't do things, but having been on council and former mayor, I know that under section 155 of the code, that the city manager can intervene as well as the law director. The other items that I look at is, we look at our public services doing an excellent job. We can't complain about that. But I think that as we look at tax abatements, we are very concerned that the newer homes that are being built, they're giving abatements for years to the new homeowners to be able to move into the homes, but yet the burden is placed on the taxpayers of existing properties. So they don't get a tax break. But when you start adding more kids to the school, which we've had our school levies on for quite a few times now, they've been looking for money. Well, you can't give them money if you're giving tax breaks to the new homeowners. They're bringing kids into the area. As far as the third area, I just think that more things could be done for our seniors. A lot of them are trying to age in place, and sometimes they need a little property maintenance, property help. And I think we need to probably energize some kind of program to be able to assist in that area. Thank you, Kurt.
Thank you, Mr. Coates. And again, the question is, what are the top 3 issues facing the city of Forest Park? Ms. Holt.
I think the top 3 issues that's facing Forest Park, first and to the forefront are taxes. Property maintenance is an issue, and I guess there is probably more that we can do for the senior citizens of the city. However, we have programs in place. We were doing property maintenance, we were doing all of that, and then COVID hit. And we just got a new city manager a year or so before COVID hit. So COVID did not only just hit certain areas. Forest Park was one of those areas that was hit. But we are back up and running now. We are putting things in places as far as property maintenance is concerned, because we are heavy on property maintenance. Taxes, as I said earlier in my statement, we have not raised city taxes for years. It has been years. I think once since in the 15 years that I've been on council, did we raise the taxes. And people seem to think that our taxes in Forest Park are the highest around. It's not. So we have had tax, we had one tax, the people from the county to the city to come and explain the tax, what's going on with the taxes to us. We're gonna have more of those forums for people to come to understand everything there is to know about taxes. We've done a lot. I think this council that has been on, we've done a lot in the last 4 years. Even with COVID, we've done a lot to improve the city.
Thank you very much. Mr. Sylvester, again, the top 3 issues facing the city of Forest Park.
Well, the top 3 issues, that might be a little bit of understatement. There are a lot of issues that face the city of Forest Park, and based on the reality of life. I know in speaking with several of the residents, taxes is always a upfront subject. I think the city and staff has been doing work to maintain the services to our citizens, to drive in resources externally from the income taxes that paid by our residents. So we've taken advantage to try to better balance the approach to minimize the subject of how our residents may focus on the term of the word. We have high taxes. Our development is always important to all cities surrounding. And Forest Park has had its challenge with being able to bring in various areas of business. But I think those water gates are opening up that conversation and the way that the staff is taking advantage of advancements of grants and speaking at government levels that are now giving focus to Forest Park. We've grown. We're in a second position now as the second largest among Hamilton County. And I would also state that our Parks and Rec is a important subject to make focus with, because our future is our youth. So if we don't have youth to continue to grow the city, I think that comment speaks for itself.
Mr. Brown, what about the top 3 issues facing the city?
Thank you for that question, Kurt. Currently, what we hear from residents are taxes are high. We do not have enough businesses or activities for kids. And then there's also aging houses. All of these issues have been a longstanding problem in the city of Forest Park, but this council has actually been working to address them. So for the first time in a number of years, in a number of decades actually, we had the first we had a tax town hall to explain the difference between property taxes and income taxes, and that is up on Waycross's channel, and that's also up on our city website. The property taxes and income taxes, they fund things like city services, but then in addition to that, there are a lot of businesses that will bring in tax revenue, but there are a lot of people complain that we don't have enough businesses. So we have to begin to work on attracting them, and that means working with local or regional economic development agencies like READY, or with the Greater Cincinnati Chamber of Commerce and the Forest Park Chamber of Commerce, and then also aging homes. What a lot of people don't understand is that we did stop for briefly, but we've already begun it again to do code violations for properties, but a lot of properties have fallen into disrepair, not only because people are aging in place and they do need help, but the foreclosure crisis from 2007, Forest Park has not recovered to the same degree. So I think we actually need to work on leveraging our relationships with local regional authorities like the county commissioners, and even at the tax town hall, for the first time ever, we've actually had the county auditor and the county treasurer come together, because they are the ones who are responsible for doing the property assessments to set the property tax rate, and then collecting the taxes. But the city of Forest Park is committed to lowering taxes and providing high amenities and services through grant programs.
Thank you, Mr. Brown. Our next question is going to start with Ms. Holt. Again, 2 minutes you'll have for the statement. What's unique about your skills and experience that you bring to the Forest Park City Council?
There are a lot of seniors in the city of Forest Park, and I am a senior. So the skills that I bring to the city of Forest Park, I know what seniors want, I know what they need, because I need those same things. My objective goal is to work with the seniors to really try and find out exactly what it is that they need. So I think I have that skill set because I'm going through that senior, time in my life, and I want them to have the same, be afforded the same opportunities that I am afforded. I have lived in Forest Park for over 30 years. I left Forest Park, moved out of state, moved to a different area, and came back to Forest Park for a reason. It was not just, it's not just an accident that Forest Park became the second largest city in Hamilton County. There's something that we apparently are doing right for seniors, and I want to continue to do whatever it is I feel that is right for the seniors in the city of Forest Park. So, there are a lot of seniors. There's no doubt about it, there's a lot of seniors. The community has changed. We're evolving to a different, a different group. It's not just all seniors or all one nationality or all one group of people. We are a very multicultural city, and we're moving on that, thriving on that, and trying to work with everyone to bring this community together as one big community.
Mr. Sylvester, what's unique about your skills and experience that you bring to the Forest Park City Council?
Well, as far as what's unique about my skills, my studies is in infrastructure, IT, so I have an understanding of the collaboration of systems that need to be managed together. As far as my abilities, I believe I have a common base with a broad range of people, young and old. Before I became council, I worked with our local school district, with Woods. I participated with the various boosters, as far as music boosters, athletic boosters, worked with those youth. I even ran the concession stand for quite a few years for when my children attended Wettenwood. So I have developed a common base with the resident of Forest Park, and a broad base of people, not just a focal group of people. And young and old, there are some of the students that still know me and speak to me and give me respectable comments and I'm encouraged by how they have developed themselves and moved on. So I believe that in working with the council and what I've brought to the table thus far have helped, and I believe that a continuance as a second term will continue to help. I look for balance with council and the city staff of Forest Park to make sure that we are in a common base and have a real focus to drive the city for a growth. And that's it. Yeah.
Mr. Brown, what do you consider to be your unique skills and experience that you bring to the Forest Park City Council?
Thank you for that. So actually, before I was on council, I've been serving since 2019. I went to Miami University and I graduated with a bachelor's degree in political science and also attended the University of Cincinnati. And my master's degree is in urban planning. I was at DAP. And while I was studying urban planning, I learned about community development and economic development. So specifically, I learned about housing and I learned about how to bring businesses to a community. But in addition to that, the skills I would say that are the most impactful is that I'm a great listener. My grandmother has actually lived in the city of Forest Park since 1978, so she is a senior. I listen to her needs and her concerns, and then I also have a lot of relationships across the county with different agencies from volunteering on various campaigns. And leveraging those relationships, we actually been able to bring more amenities and services to the city of Forest Park. So, for instance, I'm also a grant writer and a project manager by trade. I actually worked for a number of different community development corporations in the past, also including the Port Authority. So I know a lot about housing and bringing commercial activity to a neighborhood. But we leveraged our relationship with a local community development financial institution. We conducted a study to find out about the housing conditions of Forest Park and about the conditions that people would, what type of housing they would support. So there are housing developments that are coming along Waycross and Sharon on the eastern side of the city, which are going to be geared towards seniors. They're going to be ranch-style homes. They're going to be duplexes. It's going to be a nice community. But like my grandmother had told me, that she was actually very tired of her steps. So a lot of the homes that we plan to build are going to be on one level just to eliminate that. So listening is key, and that's one of the skills I bring.
Mr. Coates, what about your skills and experience that you would bring to the Forest Park City Council?
Well, prior to my 10 years on city council, I was a registered builder, having built a home around my home, and I was a real estate broker for 40 years. So I think that gives me a very unique perspective when it comes to housing development. And I can tell you, nobody ever gave me a tax break when I built homes. But also, the 23 years in my service as a public servant, when I was on city council, we were able to facilitate a lot of things in the community development, economic development. Some things did work, some things did not work. We had to claw back some of the tax breaks that we gave. But that's the only right thing to do if they're not facilitating and giving the production that you want out of taxes. As I said, the other thing was when I was on mayor, I did probably the last one to do mayor's court. And having done mayor's court, I had a lot of tax cases coming before me. And after that, we started what we call a taxpayer's bill of rights that would help the taxpayers work through the mechanism of our tax department. But also, having been in the state legislature, I have a unique perspective because I actually wrote legislation and have passed legislation in the State House. So I know something about codes and legislation. And then when I was on the Hamilton County Recorder, I was able to facilitate those 8 years. We were able to do a lot of consolidating, merging things, and also be able to cut our budget by 50%. So again, having owned a business and been on 23 years of public service, I have a very unique perspective of way to do things when it comes to public service and being a public servant. Thank you, Kurt.
Thank you. Ms. Holt, what's unique about your skills and experience? Oh, I started with you. My bad. So let me just take a moment here to, if you're watching live here October 3rd, you'll be able to email your questions to the candidates. If you're watching live, the email address will show up on the bottom of the screen, waycross.org. And just a couple rules, as we said, is that you have to be a resident of Forest Park, and please put in your email, your name, your address, and the town that obviously Forest Park that you're in. But also when you phrase a question, have the question for everyone in that email that you send to us. Now our next question, again, 2-minute question, and this time we begin with Mr. Sylvester. And that is redevelopment and business. What do you see business development going on in Forest Park?
Well, excuse me. Business development going on in Forest Park, it's been in a challenging state, but we have some growth of local food businesses that have emerged. I would believe that on the development and the direction of the new library that's taking place, that this will enable the city to have some outside interactions that would be willing to now take on a position to come in and help bring areas of development with businesses. So that's where I'm at with that statement.
Mr. Brown, redevelopment and business. Where do you see business development going on in the city of Forest Park?
Yeah, so actually there were a few areas that have been vacant and blighted for quite some time. So there were the Kmart property located above 275, and then also the Kmart property closer to Hamilton Avenue. We are in the process currently for the property next to Hamilton Avenue of working with a business developer to build a business spec building. So it'll bring a few more offices and hopefully high-paying jobs to the city. And the redevelopment that is happening above 275, this business is going to be veteran-owned. It is also going to bring a number of jobs, I believe over 50 different jobs to the city of Forest Park. In addition to that, we also have seen a lot of investment from the tech and green infrastructure sector. So there are currently businesses trying to work with Kroger to put in new charging stations into the parking lot. And then we also have seen Tesla, which brought about 30 jobs to the city of Forest Park. And this is mechanics and engineers that specialize in that. So the location of one business can actually spur more businesses. But I think what residents would like to see, aside from offices and other businesses that do transactions with another business, is more like maybe retail or restaurant options. People are actually looking for something to do. A lot of the majority of our community are seniors, but they like to go out to Cracker Barrel, and they want more dining options. And then as more residents move in that are starting their families, they also want dining options as well. So that's actually something that we're working on currently at the Cantor Park development. So we are working on bringing a mixed-use development that'll have not only commercial activity but residential activity as well, but more commercial along Northland.
Mr. Coates, redevelopment and business. Where do you see business development going on in the city of Forest Park?
Well, I'm kind of at a disadvantage since I haven't served on council for a number of years, but going around Forest Park, you can see some vacancies. I mean, when I was on council and mayor, we were able to open the Forest Fair Mall. Well, we can see what happened to that, and as well as what happened to the Tri-County Mall. So we're looking at redeveloping as far as that. I do know that, or I do believe that I read something that Fairfield is also, because it splits the boundary, Fairfield and Forest Park both got state money to be able to tear down the mall. I understand that Bass Pro is building up off of Union Center up there in Butler County. But our biggest thing is that, as I say, we have a lot of vacant property. We have the Walmart property now that's sitting up there. And I think that we have a lot of areas. I know when Aldi's closed and moved to Springdale, neighbors came up to me, and because it was a very inexpensive place to buy food. So, we look at the competition as far as that, trying to bring somebody who can facilitate a lower pricing. Kroger's has been an anchor. They used to be in the old, where Tesla is now. So as I say, business development, we do need to continue to grow our businesses, but we also have to be careful of what breaks we give to the businesses in order to get them in here. I think our biggest problem is being inside the Beltway and everything's going up to Liberty Township and everything up north into Westchester. So as I say, I don't think we want to give away the farm as we try to redevelop and finish and refill our lots. I think that we have to be very prudent in our projections as far as what we want to do and how we want to do it, but just not put anybody in those places. Thank you, Kurt.
Ms. Holt, redevelopment and business. Where do you see business development going on in the city of Forest Park?
It's a thing, Forest Park is in an unfortunate situation when it comes to big businesses and things because we're landlocked. But we are pushing all the time to try and get other businesses to come into the city of Forest Park. We are, the area down the Cantor Park area, it's being talked about redeveloping that area for multi-purpose uses, and that seems to be the going trend now, the multi-purpose uses. Forest Park has to try, we're trying to figure out, Forest Park has to figure out where we can put the multi-purpose facilities, because we can't put them across the street from houses. Forest Park has a lot of houses. We really don't need any more. We have developments, we have several housing developments that's going on. After those two are done, I don't think we really need to build any more houses in Forest Park right now. We need to concentrate on trying to bring some businesses in those vacant areas where we can place multi-purpose buildings. As far as the Forest Fair Mall is concerned, there is some conversation going on as far as the mall is concerned, the tearing down of the mall and what is going to be put at the mall when and if it's torn down. So there is conversation going on as far as things that Forest Park can do, since we can't put any large structures here in the city. There's conversation going on as to what we can do with the property that we have.
Mr. Brown, there's been discussion about the fact that there's vacant buildings and everything else
Yes.
in terms of businesses. But you do have businesses, so my question to all of you is, and I start with you, Mr. Brown, what can the Forest Park City Council do for retention of the current businesses that you have in the city?
Well, absolutely. So partnership with local economic development agencies is actually key. The city of Forest Park doesn't always have to utilize our own budget to incentivize a business. We also don't always have to use tax abatements to incentivize a business to come. Sometimes they just might want zoning. So we can do a zoning change that'll allow them to build more. But also commercial entities like Ready, Cincinnati, this is what they do 24/7, 365. They actually go out, they find good businesses to come to communities, good high-paying jobs, and that income tax is generated and goes back to the area in which they currently reside. So we have to continue to get out of our own bubble, so to speak, not just only think about what can Forest Park do, but it's about leveraging the relationships that we have with countywide agencies who also have a responsibility to making sure that the overall economic growth of the entire community of Hamilton County is growing. So partnering with agencies like Ready and, like I mentioned before, with the Chamber, but then having conversations with entrepreneurs, telling them about the awesome opportunities in Forest Park, and getting, building up that rapport. But in addition to that, what a lot of people have to understand is some businesses will make their business decision based off of the demographics of the residents who are currently there. So what you have to do is you do have to sometimes build homes, maybe higher income homes, to attract a business, because a Kroger will say, well, my average shopper might be on a fixed income. But if you say you want like a Whole Foods, their average shopper might make $200,000. So then they might only be able to afford a high income house. So you have to build that house to have that person who makes that shopper to attract that business.
Mr. Coates, what can City Council do to retain the current businesses that you have in the city?
Well, I think that looking at the Economic Development Commission that we have, there was we have a Forest Park Chamber, and it was very active, but I think that sometimes you tend to, as you say, live in a bubble, and you have to step outside that bubble. And I have to say that Mayor Brown is correct. We have to partner with outside interest because, there is a lot of energy out there that we can draw from. And there's, we can facilitate bringing businesses in, but also I think that, which also is talking about demographics, we are looking at a very broad range of demographics here in Forest Park. It was just very, very good for Forest Park. I know that in the 10 years I was on council, we were very particular about trying to integrate our community and build from the base and build out. So I think, but also as we're moving forward, looking at the businesses, as I say that those lower income people, when Aldi's moved out, what happened? Well, it left a vacuum. And I think we have to look at other resources and other opportunities to bring into that area. So, we have a lot of things going on in Forest Park and businesses, but also I think we have to cultivate those relationships as well in order to bring the businesses in. And I think that we do have to go outside the county to look at other interests and bring them out of the city in order to bring them into our Forest Park.
Ms. Holt, what can the Forest Park City Council do for retention of business?
Sometimes we do have to offer incentives. Sometimes we have to offer abatement, in order to keep or bring people into the city. We need to work closely with the chambers. We also need to work with the county. The county, we need help from the county, so we need to work with them in order to help us attract businesses and keep the business here. And we also need the county to bring some business to Forest Park instead of taking them to since we are the second largest city in Hamilton County, we need them to bring businesses to Forest Park also, and not just the surrounding areas. Right now, we're getting the library, which is awesome. It's a fantastic thing. And from that, we intend to grow from that and that area over there near Cantor Park, to grow that area to be a multi-purpose entity in the city of Forest Park. So as I said, sometimes we have to offer abatement. Sometimes we have to offer incentives in order to keep business here. Sometimes a small business might need to expand where they are, and if it's impossible for them to expand where they are, the city council, the city, needs to find a place in the city that can accommodate them to offer them another space to live in with incentive in order to keep them here. So it's always a give and take. We have to give something in order to get something.
Mr. Sylvester, what can the Forest Park City Council do to retain the current businesses that you have?
Well, I think a good bit of the comments have been made, so let me see if I can find a way to polish it just a little bit, only a little bit. But collaboration. Absolutely. Collaboration is going to be a key within the city and without the city. We understand and know that there will be points of dependability. We're going to need those outside services to help assist our city. And we need to make sure that we have continuity with our agreements and disagreements. We know there might be some points where we might not find that commonality, but we have to have that continuity to have clarity on why there may be a disagreement. But find the key points that says, here's the base that would help deliver what the city of Forest Park need, because that's really what we're sitting here speaking for, to do things that are gonna help our city grow and to help our residents to be at ease and be at peace and see that we're doing things to help their lives better. And while we're helping their lives to be better, we're also helping ourselves. But in my point, collaboration is going to be a key, getting out and getting those relations polished and developed with other staffs and members and organizations that will help us drive to those points. So,
Mr. Coates, obviously growth is important. By doing so, you want to bring residents to Forest Park. What can City Council do to attract residents to come and move here into Forest Park?
Well, I think the current council is doing an excellent job bringing people in, because this year we have seen a lot more outreach as far as the banners and the activities that are being offered. We had a food truck rally a couple months back, and when I was walking around it, I met people that were from up, well, gee whiz, they were from Monroe. It was very refreshing. People from Anderson, because people who work in the area, they pass by these signs and they go, what's going on? I had to check it out. So, that's one of the things that we can do, is to highlight Forest Park, not just saying it's just a sign on the road going by, but also we have activities that really interest people to come to. That is just one area. But also I think that the outreach as far as going out to other areas, and when I was running for state rep, going to other areas and talking to other communities, I found that there was a lot of commonalities that we have together, but certain people want to live in certain areas. And I think that we have in Forest Park, we have a very diverse population, which I'm very happy about, because I think it really adds flavor to our community, and that diversity, but also that culture. So I think that it's currently going on a good job, but I think that also we have to be very aware of that the housing prices have went up over the last few years, and a lot of that is from equity from Wall Street. A lot of the real estate equity firms that are buying properties up and renting them out, and sometimes the renters don't have the same feelings for Forest Park as residents who own their homes do. So I think that that's something we have to be very aware of as far as working with landlords to be able to ensure that that we have a better experience.
Ms. Holt, what can be done to attract residents?
Forest Park, as Wayne said, the houses have gone up, but I think Forest Park is still one of the most affordable areas within the Beltway in Hamilton County, especially one of the most affordable housing we have here. We are a multicultural community, and it's growing, it's expanding. It wasn't by accident that we became the second largest city in Hamilton County. There was something that attracted people to Forest Park. As far as these people coming in, buying property up, and absentee landlords, the council is working on something. We're working on that now to try and rectify these issues with property going down, or people not taking care of the property as if it's not their own, or not living there. We're working on things that will make that person, that if they're gonna be a renter, that they're gonna have to take care of their property the same way as if you own that property. So those things are being worked on. So once we get all of that in order, get it all together, I think Forest Park is gonna be one of the most beautiful communities in Hamilton County that you can reside in at reasonable rates, and with the businesses and things that you want in the city. We're working on the roads, getting the roads in order. So there's a lot that's going on in Forest Park. There's so many things that's going on. I can't mention them all or remember all the things that are going on, but we are moving, we're thriving. And with this last council that we've had, and with the new city manager, I mean, there is work to be done. That's in all cities, but there's work to be done, and we're working on it.
Mr. Sylvester, how do you attract residents?
Excuse me, I believe that what we have done sets a a good marker to attract residents. I know that residents or families can consist of a father, mother, children. Consist of a granddaddy, a grandmother, or brother, sister. The range of residents touch on multiple bases. I believe that we have taken objective to try to position living quarters and assistance of like right now with our current development that we're looking at bringing in to assist with homes that have that one level entry. I know I talked with several seniors, and they're dealing with homes that deals with steps, and it's challenging them because of the stage of life. And but I believe that we have achieved goals for the city that have attracted people to move here. We've done a great development with our parks, looking for an advancement of walking trail. I believe our school district, while school districts around have their various challenges, but I think our district is well positioned to develop and bring out students that will be an advancement for not only this city, but for our society. So the complement of a growing city and a onward moving school district, those things are important to families and has a higher percentage. I may be a little bit tilted at it, but because that district is being nurtured with students, but the students can come in other areas, but growth is there.
Mr. Brown?
This is actually one of my favorite questions, Kurt, so thanks for asking this. If I had to nail it down, I would say it has to be communication, has to be strategic partnerships, and planning. So the city, since being on council, we have been very intentional about trying to inform residents about all of the activities that are happening across Forest Park. A lot of residents have expressed their dissatisfaction with things in the last couple of years, prior to the last 2 years, but we brought back the Forest Park newsletter. So once the newsletter came back, we actually highlighted these are all of the community events that are going to happen, and then we actually told the city administration that we need to see more banners, we need to see a lot more publicizing of events, and that's why the turnout for every event has actually increased, and we added a few events, including the citywide bike event where people start in the park and they do a lap and come back into the park. And then we also added the food truck rallies. And then for the first time, Jazz in the Park, our largest event, actually crossed the threshold of 6,000. So from 2010 to 2020, the city of Forest Park has increased about 1,500 residents. And that was due to not only when the foreclosure crisis happened and some people were actually moving into the area, we can be very intentional about our growth moving forward. So when I say partnerships, I mean also highlighting the good work of the school district. We have a world-class band. We also have a Division II state championship football team, and we can highlight the positive things about our school district. So we have to have that partnership. And then when I say planning, that means also thinking about listening to what our residents are saying, the amenities that they want. So if they want more restaurant options, we're going to work to bring them more restaurant options. If they want different housing types of luxury housing or housing for people on fixed incomes with no stairs, that's exactly what we have done. So everything that you've been seeing in the progress that Forest Park has been making is a result of listening and then going to communication, partnerships, and planning. And we can get even further from there.
Time for our closing statement. Ms. Holt, we begin with you. 2-minute closing statement.
Thank you. Again, my name is Denise Holt, and I have been on City Council for 15 years. I am asking for your vote to re-elect me for City Council. I serve now as the first Vice Mayor. I have served as the first Vice Mayor, I think, for about half of my term. I am concerned about taxes in Forest Park. That is the forefront of my breath that I take is taxes. And I am working to try and keep taxes at where they are or to try and lower them. We're working, I am also on the Planning Commission, and we are working to try and, when business come and ask us changes and exceptions and things like that. We're working to try and do that in order to bring more businesses in the city. We have not missed a beat when it came to the firemen being out on whenever there's a fire. We've not missed a beat with police servicing our area, and we want to work to keep those services for the people in spite of not raising the taxes for people. Property maintenance, we're working seriously on improving the property maintenance. There has been a lack in them and that, and as I said, because of when COVID hit, everything shut down for 2 years. We now have to try and make up for those 2 years and today. We're working to do that. We're working very hard to do that. We're working very hard to keep programs and services going in the city that will allow, like the shredding, the tree planting, allow our citizens, give them discounts on that, free of charge shredding, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. We're working on it. We're doing a lot.
2-minute statement, Mr. Sylvester.
Well, I'd like to thank Waycross Media for giving me this opportunity to speak to our citizens of Forest Park. I've served for my first term and running as a re-elect for a second term. I believe that we have done favorable things for our city. I know I have an open door and an open personality to receive from our residents, to have an understanding of their concerns, and to deliver the communications to our city staff so that they are aware of concerns of our residents, and to make sure that we have a common basis to have that continuity that we need to make things move forward. You know, like I say, we may have some points where there may be a little bit of a disagreement, or maybe not so clear with what's being said or what's being done. But I believe that this body of council has done well with finding that common base that will help deliver what our citizens of Forest Park need, that will help deliver the type of environment and the surroundings that would be acceptable and pleasing for our residents, given those things that are to help advance our youth. We know that there's definitely still room to grow, but we're willing to take on those challenges to make that happen. So thank you for this opportunity, and we solicit for your vote, and we thank you for giving me this time to speak.
Mr. Brown?
This is something that I also think about for a really long time. My grandmother has lived here since 1978. I've lived here since 1998, and I had an upbringing like no other. I could walk down the street to my local elementary school. I had a host of friends. I had activities to do. We had a swim club. I played soccer here, and we still have these things. And it's actually due largely in part to the efforts of people that I have the privilege of sitting here next to right now. If they had not volunteered their time, if they had not had the vision for providing an incredible childhood for someone like me, I wouldn't be here today. And I am because of their work, so I have to thank them for that. And that's why I say this is what makes Forest Park beautiful. It's not just politicians, it's not just city administrators or city managers. It is everyday residents like you who volunteer your time, who are very diverse, who love taking care of your homes, and our best days are still ahead of us because of families like you. Because this is what Forest Park is, and this is where we can continue to go. This is what Forest Park can be, a beautiful, thriving destination community where everyone knows the homes are beautiful. There are tons of activities. There are a lot of businesses and restaurants that we can frequent, and that's what I want to continue to do. I want to serve and build on the work that has been done before and the work that we have done since I joined council in 2019 to continue to add more amenities, more activities that you want to frequent, the things that you want to experience. And I love this job. I love having the privilege of serving you. And our best days are still ahead because of people like you continuing to move to our area. So thank you.
Mr. Coates, your closing statement.
I don't know whether Aaron just complimented me for doing a previous job or that he just called me an old person. Actually, I have to thank our council because they have done an excellent job. And my run this year is not to actually replace them, but to add my voice to the conversation. I have lived in Forest Park 38 years. My 2 daughters have graduated from Forest Park and Winton Woods. This is my community, and it's been my privilege to be a part of its growth and its development. And as Aaron said, everything is still ahead of us because it's not just the past that we have to build on. We have to build forward, and we have to continue to ask the questions. Why are we doing it a certain way, or can we do it a different way? So again, my 23 years in government, I look at it as to add an experienced voice to the conversation, to be able to ask serious questions and keep probing to find the right answers. None of us have the right answers. If we all thought the same, only one of us is needed. That's why there's a coalition of 7 on council. And I've had my neighbors come up to me and ask me to get back on council. And believe me, I would not thought I'd be sitting here tonight saying I'm running for city council, please vote for Coates. But it is the truth, and I am running, and I just hope to continue to work for my community, work for you, and to do the best job I can to make our community the best it can be in Hamilton County. Thank you, Kurt.
Thank you, and you can watch all the election forum programs at waycross.tv. Register to vote by October 10th, and voting is on November 7th. I'm Kurt Radel, Waycross Government Programming Coordinator. We'll see you at the polls on November 7th.
Waycross takes no position on candidates or issues. We conduct these forums so that our viewers may be better informed voters for the November 7 election.